for Thursday, March 22nd in 2018 at 6 p.m. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready?
You never give me time to stand up,
Oh,
Mr. Garcia.
I'm sorry, sweetie.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm not as fast as you older people.
Sorry.
Videoed and being live streamed onto YouTube and our own website. So if you don't want to be on camera, the rear of the room is where you want to be. Okay. Roll call of directors. Director Garcia.
Here.
Director Nyman.
Here.
Director Gibson.
Here.
Director Schomburg.
Here.
Director Kelling. And I'm here.
Oh, you're here? Okay.
Yeah, all 5 of us are here. Johnny is out due to some personal matters, and Tiffany is here. Discussion, if we need to amend the agenda, adjust the agenda.
No, I think
I
it's
don't
good.
think so unless we want to put accounts payable earlier since we have to call Carlos. But do we have anything, do you think that Linda needs to hear as far as payments or anything?
Not for the regional.
So I guess actually directly after the manager's report, number 4.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 5-0-0. Okay. Public comments. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Manager's report.
The only thing is it's not a discussion item on the agenda, but Johnny wanted me to let you know that our attorney received another letter and they were interested in a response. And it's never directed to us, it's directed to the attorney, but just to let you guys know that.
Okay. Administrative.
Director Garcia wanted to.
Okay.
Director Garcia.
I'd like to ask you this from the same.
Wanted to see if we can add something in regard to that, not necessarily naming the customer or anything, but to the agenda, because if said customer's water gets shut off because said customer has not been paying, I'm concerned that we have the ability to talk about it.
Do you want that on the first agenda in April?
Yeah.
Yes.
In
Closed
closed session.
for
Threat of litigation, I think, so I don't know.
And yet won't respond or
Yeah.
accept our response to it. So,
Yeah,
so
okay.
one way.
Yeah, we sent a return receipt before and it wasn't accepted. She
Yeah,
didn't,
it
she didn't
wasn't
pick it up.
accepted.
He shouldn't be
It.
saying
Oh,
they.
The customer.
the customer,
The
excuse me.
customer.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Tiffany. Any administrative assistance report?
no, nothing for me.
Nothing for that. Okay. I forgot, I got a big 8 there.
Okay, the list of payables is the same as before, nothing out of the ordinary. Also, all of the USD transfers have been made, so there are funds available in the account for the next payment that will occur approximately April 15th.
Director Schomburg.
Yeah, Director Nyman and I came in and made the transfers into the payment account.
And those have already been posted as well.
Okay. Did you guys see anything?
I didn't see anything out of the ordinary, so I would make a motion that we pay our bills.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Motion carried.
Oh, I'm
5-0-0. Thank you.
The bank card bill, we just received it late last week, and they want it's due the 25th, which is a Sunday. So it needs to be paid tomorrow at the bank. There's not enough time to mail it for them. They only give us, we received it on the 13th.
That's the one that we have in here though, right? So we just
Right.
need to drop it at the bank?
Right, and I was gonna do it for you tomorrow, but I have to take my husband into the hospital, so I won't be able to. So,
Are you able to do that?
I'll take it into the bank.
Why are they giving us, I mean,
I know, it's been an issue, I've brought it up before. They don't even allow enough time if we were to mail it, anything.
Well, shouldn't it be there by Wednesday of next week?
But it's due the 25th, which is on Sunday.
Oh, I thought you said the.
You mean this Sunday?
this Sunday?
Yeah, we just need to drop it off.
Yeah, okay, I'll drop it off.
And that, you know,
Just
I don't know
inconvenient.
what we can do about it. I
Thank you,
know
Bill.
that we've tried to get them to change, but they're only allowing 14 days from, or the date of the invoice is the 5th, which the earliest they would have mailed it is the 6th, which I doubt they even mailed it that soon. We didn't get it till the 13th. They're not allowing for any holidays, weekends, or anything. I don't know what can be done about it, but to have it where it's due so quickly, especially when it's to a company,
We're able to drop it off, I guess that's a
And-
good thing.
One of them needs 3 signatures.
so anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you, Linda.
Comments?
You want to sign them? There's one that needs.
Sir, do you have a comment that you'd like to?
I'll send it.
No,
I
just came. Yeah, send it.
Oh, okay.
He's on like the individual board.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's another member of our board.
Welcome.
Well,
Welcome.
Yeah, pretty soon we're gonna start outnumbering you.
Yes, you
Hey, we
will.
welcome it.
That's good. Because when we annex, then we'll have lots of board members.
Sorry, his name is Dan Eisman. I didn't need
Dan.
It's Dan.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Okay. Now, on to unfinished business.
Thank you, Linda. We don't need you anymore. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Not that we don't want you to stay.
That's fine, thank you.
Yes,
Tell
No,
your-
your
tell
husband-
your
you're part of
husband
the
we
public,
wish him
you can
well.
stay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Do you guys want these? I hope
Yeah.
they're charged. Cause see, they're not.
I don't know.
Or we'll have to yell at them.
And they don't look charged, right? Aren't they supposed to be
Be green when they're charged,
Yeah.
unless it's because.
Or push it in when, no, because that meets it, so yeah, it
Yeah.
should be green. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, it's been unplugged for a while. So you can yell into the box.
Okay.
I'm gonna call
sure.
Carlos. Carlos couldn't make it because of the weather, but he wanted to be on speaker.
Afraid of a little weather. Come on.
Oh, give Carlos a break all the time. Although Dee made it. Hi, I'm in the middle of a board meeting. Can I call you back? Okay, it'll be a little bit.
Hello?
Hey Carlos, it's Tiffany.
Hey, Tiffany.
Hey,
We're
Carlos.
ready for you.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, we're gonna let you slide tonight.
What's that?
We're gonna let you slide tonight.
Okay, discussion on regional fast project planning application. Any info?
Yeah, I emailed Lawrence, and he said that the legal team signed the document on Monday, so the funding should be issued sometime this month.
All right.
Yay.
This month being March or
March.
April?
It is 3,000.
Yeah, this month meaning March.
Okay.
Yeah, they were supposed to make a decision in March, so that's great. So basically, by them signing it, the decision is yes, they're funding it. We just don't know how much.
He didn't say an amount, but I would assume that they're going to fund the amount that was asked for on the application.
Okay,
Well, Dee can get to work then.
Great, thank you, Carlos.
Okay,
Don't go anywhere, we're still.
yeah. Okay,
I'm still here.
okay. Lake of the Woods, work plan. The pre-planning, project tasks 3 and 4.
So discuss, A is the discussion vote on the MOUs. Unless you have something else as far as the work plan or the anything left on the pre-planning. That shouldn't say pre-planning, shouldn't that say?
We haven't heard
planning?
back. We haven't heard back on the MOU from Lake of the Woods from your.
From our side?
Yeah,
Your side.
Your side.
But before we even get there,
Oh,
just on number 6, before we address A or B,
Scott.
are we still really dealing with pre-planning project tasks 3 and 4? Isn't everything except for the sphere of influence and the, everything is, and that's on hold as far as the actual annexation, oh, my brain's not working today.
You mean the mobile home park?
No, I'm just wondering why it still says work plan and pre-planning project tasks 3 and 4 activities.
Yeah, they still haven't changed that, but it shouldn't be pre-planning anymore. I
It
think
should be
everything
planning.
is going to be planning. So
Well, Tiff can make that change.
Okay,
because the planning, the pre-planning funds were done after April, I believe.
Yeah, so the B part is where we get into the payouts, what
Right,
he's
but
paid
I'm not
out.
even talking about that. I'm talking about just number 6.
Right,
Just
but
that top.
that falls under that.
what's task 3 and what's task 4?
Task 3 and Task 4 were from the pre-planning, so what I'm saying is that is no longer applicable because everything got moved into the planning stage, so even the annexation work that isn't done yet, which is all of the LAFCO stuff, got moved into planning. Is that correct, Carlos?
Well, the thing is that planning, in all actuality, I mean, the stuff that we're doing now is technically part of the planning, but we haven't started the planning because we don't have the funding for planning yet. So all this stuff that we've been doing, like MOUs and stuff like that, that's being paid through
Self-help.
Prop 1 funding that self-help has. But I mean, it's technically planning work, but it's not because we're not using funding from the planning app yet.
Right.
So I don't know what we would want to call it.
Right, so I'm just kind of giving Tiffany a heads up that it isn't really pre-planning project period because those funds are exhausted, so it either needs to say self-help, or it needs to be under planning once we have the funding. Right?
Right, but it's still pre-planning right now because this is
No,
what this
no,
falls.
it's
No, it's self-help.
not. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's neither pre-planning nor planning because
It's self-help.
it's just you could just call it annexation related work or something.
Okay.
That'll, on the next one, make it annexation related work.
Okay.
That way we're parsing things.
The only thing that's actually that's going to be part of the planning, I think, is going to be reimbursement for your guys' for the meeting.
Right.
So once I submit that, I'm going to submit that to planning for reimbursement. But other than that, I think we can just call it annexation related costs or something.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, now we can go to A. I just wanted to.
Okay. And then,
Point of order.
yes.
We didn't note the time when we started on this, right?
Oh, no, I did not.
Probably 6:10.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Thank you.
no, it's a good point.
You can probably
Okay.
check how long it's been on the phone.
Yes. Okay, MOUs, for those participating in the annexation.
So we're You're waiting for Scott to respond? Okay.
Yeah, to Ernest, yeah.
So Ernest has already responded to Scott and Scott's got to bounce it, okay.
Yeah, we need to get that hammered out and get that completed.
I think they're waiting on the list of assets.
Yeah.
The, all the exhibits or addendums to the MOU.
Okay. I started that list with them a while ago, but I'll add to it. We were just talking about that this week.
And Carlos, do we know if Ernest followed your idea of using that letter to sort of start the MOU process for the other?
I have not heard back from Ernest, but I'm assuming from the last meeting that one of you guys was going to talk to Ernest whether or not he wanted to use that, because I know from the last meeting, from what I got, is that you guys were wanting to start from scratch and create something new.
Yeah, Johnny was supposed to email this or fax it or something to.
I have not heard anything from Ernest, and I'm sure you guys haven't if you're asking me this question. So we have to find out whether we can use that or not, or whether he wants to start from scratch and create something. Or
okay, February 28th. Sorry about the delay. Not heard anything more about the transfer agreement. I think the latest is when I mailed you on the 11th of January, noted as follows regarding the latest draft I received.
That's for Lake of the Woods, but not the other people.
Yeah. So I think the ball is in, except you, D, and possibly others need to complete paragraph 1F, exhibit. Let's see. Hard to follow these stupid.
Brahma's looking at previous emails from Ernest.
yeah, those are the same ones that he sent.
Yeah.
Basically,
regarding the private well owners, notwithstanding the view of the state to protect the district, and particularly since this survey was done almost 2 years ago, I would prefer to have a simple agreement with the current owners along the lines of my recent email, including take responsibility for hooking up to the meter, paying their share of any costs that are not covered by the grants, just like LOW, the otherwise abiding by the district rules and regulations.
okay, so that's saying he wants to start something else.
Hold on, I'm just trying to see if there was another one, because the way they...
Well, I think the ball is in our court on the agreement, except you, D, and possibly others need to complete paragraph 1F and exhibits A and B.
Well, that has to do with Lake of the Woods.
Regarding the mobile home park, you will recall the recent email exchange with D. That's the last I have. Actually, it does say more. It says, I don't see a problem annexing the mobile home park but not hooking them up, because the service would be regarding the private well owners, notwithstanding the view of the state to protect the district, and particularly since this survey was done almost 2 years ago, I'd prefer to have a simple agreement with the current owners along the lines of my recent email. Hey, who is that talking? That's Ernest talking to you, right, D?
Not sure, no. Was that to me?
It's to you, yeah.
I think I forwarded it was that email that you're referring to, just read from, where Ernest does not have a problem with us incorporating.
Yeah, it's Ernest. It's right. Ernest. So basically, he's saying that he just wants a simple.
So basically, we can incorporate the what we used when they came on board, but he wants it put into an agreement, and probably.
Okay. I guess we need to tell him to start those.
Well, what he said at the end of this email, Carlos, is that he was waiting for the planning grant to go through. So he says, I understand we are still waiting on the planning grant, so now on hold to some degree. If we need to have a conference call to review these items, please advise. So I think we probably do. Now that we know that the planning is going through, we probably need to have a conference call to talk about.
Okay, and then we can find out how much more it's going to cost to do these agreements, because we do have a contract with Ernest for a certain amount of money to do MOUs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what he's going to charge for the MOU with Lakewood Woods to see how much more we need to finish it. And if there's still money left in that contract, he can complete some of the individual well owners MOUs. And if not, we do have some funding in the planning for. Yes, I think a call might be good so we can find out, what the cost is going to be and how much more we need to finish the. I think we need to hash out the Lakewood and finish it up already. It's been a while.
So can we cover both of those things in one call?
Well, it depends. It depends how much he's charged and how much more he's going to charge us for the Lakewood Woods MOU. Because if he's going to use up all our contracted funds, then we're going to have to wait to do the other MOUs until once we get the planning funds.
Try to figure out a day that we could do a conference call between the ad hoc and Ernest, DU, Lake of the Woods, Scott, and whoever else wants to participate.
Yeah, that'll work.
So Tiffany, are you okay with that?
Yeah, sorry, I was talking to Johnny at this time. He said get the microphone away from the speaker because it's blasting. Sorry, multitasking.
Conference call for the ad hoc, which is Director Nyman and myself, unless you guys have an issue with that, and Dee and Carlos, and we need at least Scott
Ernest,
from Lake of the
and
Woods,
of course
Ernest, Johnny, and whoever else wants to participate.
I'm totally fine with being on there. That way I know what he needs.
Okay.
And to at least hash out what's left and what we can do about the MOU and how much it costs, because we need to know if we need to put the other MOUs on at a later time on the planning plan.
Okay. Claims, payouts, and requests for payment.
So Carlos, we're on the RFPs.
I emailed copies of the the latest processed RFPs to Tiffany.
Yeah, we have those in front of us.
Yeah, so those are that have been processed, because there's a few others that I submitted but haven't been processed yet.
Okay, so do we want to read these all off for the record?
That's what you've been doing before, right?
Does our treasurer want to do that now that we have a treasurer, a different treasurer?
Not really,
Director Nyman? Who says not really?
Well, when you have the balance down in there, Carlos, at the bottom, is that how much we have, how much money's left on that contract?
Let me see.
Because okay, the first one, it's tag 5406-A, meter replacement. We have invoice number 17-12048 for $5,108.28. And on of your money, or
that's either That's something that accounting has been doing to track what we spent or what is left. I'm not sure if that's what we spent or what's left, but we can figure that out real quickly because what we had before is 8,000 to 8,300 plus 5,100. Yeah, I think that's what's left in there.
Yeah, it appears to be because on the next invoice it goes to 12,629.57 and so on.
Okay.
It changes for
so I'll just go ahead and read this like I said before. I guess I'll repeat myself. On 5406-8, request for payment, meter replacement, project work invoice. That's for D. Jasper and Associates. Would you allow me to do this, unless you want to do this? Then on the next request for payment for the meter project, invoice 18-01032 for $567, and that is also for D. Jasper and Associates. That's for the water meter replacement program. Then on 4239-B, request for payment, hydrological and water quality, that's for $945. That's D. Jasper and Associates.
Can you stop for a second? I think you said 4239B. It says, I think it says 5239B.
5239B. Excuse me. That's request for payment 5239-B. Okay. The next request for payment 5239-B is for annexation related, and that's for Task 3 Fraser Park Lake of the Woods pre-planning for $189, and that is from D. Jasper and Associates. Then request for payment on 5239-B, which is also annexation related legal costs, invoice 42916 for $216 is for Young and Wooldridge for legal services on the annexation. And then I got one more. 5239-B, request for payment is for annexation related costs, and that is for...
that's Scott. That's the lawyer for Lake of the Woods.
Oh, that's the lawyer for Lake of the Woods, and that was $129. Okay, I wasn't sure who that was.
Why is there a balance due on that?
That's probably just their Lake of the Woods balance due. That has nothing to do with us.
Okay.
Because that's just on account. Probably
We get a separate
some of
invoice.
you guys do legal services too.
Yeah, we get separate invoices.
Okay. Request for payment 5239-B, annexation related costs, $21.80, and that's also from, and I believe that's for, I'm not sure what this is for.
It says regarding the annexation.
Well, it's regarding the annexation.
It's annexation related legal costs.
Yeah, annexation legal costs. And that is all the, that's the claims and payouts complete. Okay. And then on to the next.
Okay. Meter replacement project. Discussion on application for grant funding, meter replacement. Plans and specs for preliminary engineering report, the PER.
That must be D.
Location of the meters.
Hold on one second. Can you hear him, Carlos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got the information from Johnny from the district as to the location of the meters, and that'll be incorporated into our plans and specifications. Those are to be due on May 1st, this
Okay.
year, and so we're working on those now. So that's pretty much the timing. I think that also, the environmental work, I think Carlos is also May 1st.
Oh, we haven't gotten to B yet.
Sorry. So I think, anyway, that was pretty much driving plans and specifications.
So that's the last part that we have to be able to submit the PER?
Yes, now, we did have a conference call today. I don't know if we want to get into that. It's on metering and a coordination meeting with Lake of the Woods regarding metering. We had that today. And do you want me to report on that now or later? No. Yes and no. It does because of the timing of the PER and the timing of the grants, fundings that Lake
Then
of
you
the
can
Woods.
talk about it.
Well, I was
Sure.
gonna say, it's gonna have to be now because there's nowhere else.
Well, it has to do with the specs also, because it has to do with what meter we're deciding on, right?
It does.
Okay.
And so that's the issue is that Lake of the Woods needs to move ahead with their plans and specifications for installing their meters. And we're a bit behind. We'll probably get our funding for, I don't know when we'll get our funding. We'll be turning in our documents sometime in May, Carlos. And then, you know, depending on what funding's available and the timing of that funding, we could be well behind the Lake of the Woods timing for their grant funding.
But we're gonna do the same meters, correct?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
And that is true. What this meeting was about was you know, how do we coordinate this in advance, because we don't have plans and specifications out. We don't have bids. We haven't selected a meter, but Lake of the Woods needs to move ahead and get a meter bid and a selection done. And so, you know, as you're aware, we put together in our documents, in our engineering feasibility study, part of this request for funding to build a complete system. And that would be what we call an AMI system, which is the system that is that allows the district to be able to monitor the water deliveries and the flow rates in these meters remotely from the district office. It gives the district quite a bit of capability remotely for monitoring the system. And it also adds to the flexibility in billing, because that billing all the bills can be coordinated at one time. You know, they can all be read at one time on one date, and it saves sending people out in the field
Right.
to do that work. That's an AMI system, and it's the most expensive system, and that's what we've included in our request for grant funding. We don't know whether or not we'll get that grant funding for that system. The other system that is commonly used is an AMR system, which is a drive-by system. And so that allows a person in a pickup to drive down the street and get the meter readings along that street and record them in a device in the pickup, and then it gets transferred.
They just don't have to get out of the vehicle.
They don't have to get out of the vehicle, they don't have to get down on their knees.
They don't have to dig
clean
out a
anything
box
off.
or,
They
yeah.
don't have to get spiders out of the way or anything else. You know, it can be read remotely. So just as a kind of a prelude to what I want to say, Lake of the Woods needs to move ahead with a meter selection. And what we're recommending is that Lake of the Woods move ahead with, with specifying an AMR system, which would be convertible to an AMI system if we get grants to install that system. If we get grants to only, install an AMR system, we want to make sure that those meters are compatible
Right.
with the meters that we put in.
Right.
So what we decided to do was to bid an AMR, was for Lake of the Woods,
To bid an
to bid an
AMR.
AMR system.
That can be upgraded to,
That can be
it would be the
upgraded.
same meters that we put in. If we get our AMI system, they can be upgraded to.
They can be upgraded to compatible meters.
Right,
You know, there may be two different types of meters because this is a public bid. And so
Right.
what one meter that Woods may install may not be the meter that's the low bidder for this one, but it has to be, these two meters have to be compatible so that we can then upgrade to an AMI system. And so that would be part of the specifications that we would, that Lake of the Woods would put together.
when they put their bid out, they have to make sure that it's compatible, is what you're saying.
That the meters that are specified are the ones that meet the specifications for Fraser Park's meters.
Right,
So those meters then, if they meet Fraser Park specifications, would then be compatible, of course, with Fraser Park. So what we decided to do then was to, the engineer for that project, Provost and Pritchard, is going to prepare a set of specifications, and then they will give them to the district so that we can review them and make sure that the specifications are doing just what I mentioned. So that's pretty much where the decision we came to, so that they can move ahead with specifying a meter, and putting that meter in that would be compatible with Fraser Parks and also would be upgradable to an AMI system. Carlos, is that your understanding?
Carlos, did you get all that?
Carlos, did we lose you?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you guys are cutting off.
Oh, okay. Dee was explaining the AMI and the AMR systems.
Okay, you guys are back.
Carlos, what I did is explain what we decided today on the
I
conference
heard
call.
all your explanation, Dee. I just didn't hear the last part when you guys were calling my name, really.
Okay.
Okay.
My
So you
question-
agree?
My question was, is that your understanding of what we decided this afternoon?
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard.
And we have a couple of representatives from Lake of the Woods here, and might be good to get their input if there's anything else that needs to be said.
I think you about summed it up.
Yeah, that's exactly how I left it. So Provost and Pritchard will contact Dee and us as well and make sure that you get all the information you need, and then it's Dee time for us. We're going out to bid like the first week of April.
Okay,
It's really
great.
crunch time.
Yeah.
I know.
And unfortunately, kind of what we came down to is, as long as we're in this group of meters that we've all kind of agreed that we like, it's going to be interchangeable.
Right.
And
Especially with what you guys have now.
I thought so. And I thought there was only 2 meters that were actually even possible to go between the two and actually
Inch long meters.
even when they're retrofitted, because I thought that was the issue, is if you switched over to the other, the AMI, that it changed the length.
Everybody makes a 7.5
Okay.
AMI-MR.
Okay.
And so there won't be any issue with the length of the meters. There are 2 that, well, really there are 3 that we're considering because we like the specifications of those meters. They meet the specifications for that we will include in our specifications. And that's Neptune, and then the other one is Census, and the other one is Mueller. And so there are 3 fairly large national meter suppliers that can supply meters that will meet our specifications. But there may be others.
Okay, and didn't Johnny get some of those meters to test at his house? But I haven't heard anything about that?
He does, and we have those 4 in place. And right now, we're analyzing the results of the first month, and there are some disparities between the amounts. And so we're trying to figure out why that is happening. And so what we'll do as we move through this process will be that we'll resolve that difference and why there are differences in the meter readings. There are some, we are going to do some things at that location to verify, the accuracy of these meters. And then Austin here was telling me that there is a meter test bench that might be available that we can also use to verify the accuracy of the meters. So we need to conduct that test for a bit longer in order to make a determination as to whether these meters are reading accurately or not.
However, you will have already gone out to bid, so it's not necessarily going to be, I mean, we may find out that the meter that you
might come down to in the long run that it might be better to have a different brand than us. It's not necessarily going to be a huge burden on you to have a different brand.
But they're all compatible with our system that we have.
They're all
RVS
compatible
system.
with RVS.
Okay.
And so you make a reading from the office, and then you got to send one guy out once a month to read Lake of the Woods in the truck.
Right.
Maybe a one-day project.
Okay.
So it's you're
still getting the
you're
savings.
still gonna get something good, even if it's not the same.
Right.
The only difference with that is that you'll have to run 2 different computers, so you'll have software annual fees for 2 different systems. AMI is more expensive for an annual fee than AMR, obviously, but.
Yeah.
And
And I believe you'll be getting you'll be getting the computer that
with
we
the
would
RVS,
already
yeah.
have been running on the system.
But between now and then, you may get some information that'll solidify or may be able to help us out with our bid. I mean, I think we have to go with the lowest though.
Yeah,
It's
we
DWR
have to go with the
policy.
lowest bid because of our grant. I don't know if you guys are limited to that as well.
We are.
Yeah.
The thing that we talked about today was we really tighten up our specification. All of these meters are, from the standpoint of accuracy, they all advertise the same accuracy, and in the flow rate ranges that we use. So I'm a little puzzled at the difference in the meter readings that we're getting from our test. We'll have to figure that one out. All of them have been, they are meters that are nationally, they're used all over the nation. They're meters that are accurate, and so there may be something that it has to do with the setup that's causing that. I don't know. I just can't answer the question right now,
Right.
but we will answer that question. But all of these meters are meters that are very commonly used, and they are very commonly used and accurate. So I don't know why we're getting differences in results.
Okay.
But
Is it significant?
Right now, I'll just say there is a difference. It's not like half, again, I don't know what the difference is, but the whole reason that we put these in was to make this comparison. So, we can move ahead with that. And I have faith that all 3 of these meters and styles are equally accurate. There may be some plugging on one meter or another. There may be some sand or some things that are interfering with meter reading, so we need to take a look at that. And so I think there might be a real simple reason for it. But we need to chase that a little bit more. I don't think there's any risk in specifying these 3 meters at all. They're all very good meters from reputable manufacturers.
Okay.
So our test isn't showing what we'd like to see right now, but we've got to find out why.
So,
Director Shaw.
so your bid is to more than 3 companies, though. potentially.
We're trying to keep it down to the 3 companies.
Okay, through the specifications.
Yeah.
Through tightening up the specification.
Well, once we get those bids in, whichever bid comes in the lowest, not
It's the one
necessarily
that you
just
have
on
to
the
choose.
meters,
Right.
but on
On
the
the
whole
entire
project.
system,
Yeah, the
right.
entire project, whichever bid comes in the cheapest, we have to go with that.
Okay.
Right, it's just not the cost of the meters, it's the installation and they will be doing all the installation on that,
Well,
correct?
it's the software and the,
Software.
you know, the reading devices and everything else that you have, plus the annual expense of operating these. Because each one of these systems costs you some money every year to operate them. Software changes, software upgrades, things like that. And so part of the specification will be, or part of the bid will be, how much does this cost, you know, and I haven't quite determined how I think the best way to do this would be, but give us a number for the next 5 years of what the annual maintenance costs are gonna be per year for your meter, your
Right.
metering system. And then we can look at that number as well.
Right.
And, you know, and then, so I mean, there are a couple of things that we can look at that will get.
Technical support wise, did you put in specifications for that as well? Just because
That's-
I'm concerned about that, especially if we have issues with reading stuff due to sand or
Right, yeah, you know, we have
for
to
when we
have,
get to our.
we have to have technical support available to us. And, you know, that,
So I'm just curious between the companies because we haven't actually talked. I guess Johnny's been talking to them, right?
no, we've all,
Oh, yeah.
we've
Yeah, we've all
So-
gone through a whole bunch of presentations from definitely more than 3 companies.
so these are the 3 that we feel are the top 3, and we'll write our specifications tight enough that, you know, if somebody comes in that can meet those specifications,
Then we'll
we're
bid
gonna
them.
have to consider them.
Right.
So, you know, it's a public bid, but if they do meet those specifications, then, you know, they have to turn in a list of utilities that they have supplied these to, and telephone numbers and contact people, so that we can contact those utilities and find out exactly how well their meter is working. That's another qualifier.
Right.
And if they don't, you know, if you get, you know, you talk to one utility and they say, man, these things are, you know,
Are terrible or.
we're having problems
Right.
with them and, you know, there's maintenance issues, then we can reject those bids. So there are ways to eliminate bad performers.
Right.
On the bid. So what we would do, I mean, all of those requirements are gonna be in the bid package,
Right.
so that we'll be able to review them. And one of the major things I think that we need to look at is the annual cost.
Right.
Because once you buy it, you've bought this with grant funds, so now, you know, the system goes in.
Right, then you have to have a budget for it to keep running it.
That's right, you have to have a budget to keep running it. And so, you know, an important part of this is, how much is it going to cost the district and Lake of the Woods to operate these things per year, say for the next 5 years? Want a commitment, you know, the cost for the next year of annual maintenance. I think they need to guarantee the next 5 years what
Right.
those costs are gonna be.
Right.
Because you don't want somebody coming in and giving you a low number for the first year,
And
and then
then,
the second year raising it by a certain percent higher. And so, you know, given inflation and all that, that'll be included, but,
but they have to be realistic
Yeah.
and not try to lowball just to get the bid and then we end up getting stuck in
that's
the
right.
end. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And we'll continue our test, and we'll figure out why we're getting the disparity. But, you know, it is not a concern right now.
Okay.
Anything, Carlos, to add?
No, not to that.
Okay.
Okay, B.
The environmental work.
Yeah, I spoke to Carmina at the state, as a matter of fact, today, and she said she was going to try to get the work plans signed and approved this month. So once that happens, we can get the contract finalized with the environmentalist, and he can start work on the bio and cultural.
Okay.
So that's basically B and C. So the project work plan, you're looking to get signed this month, so that we can start the environmental work.
Yeah, the work plan for the meter project was approved already, but
Right.
since we found out that we needed to get environmental work done,
Right.
we had to do an amendment to the work plan, and I sent that in already to the state,
Okay.
which included the budget to pay for Tom Dodson, who's going to do the environmental work. So she said she would get that approved, try to get it approved here fairly quickly so we can start work on it.
Okay. And how long will it take him to do that environmental work, do you think?
I believe he said it would probably be about 45 days.
Okay.
But I think in the work plan I gave him like 2 months just to make sure.
Anything to add to that, Dee?
No, I have nothing more.
Well, I think we can say thank you, Carlos, and good night.
Actually, I have one more thing to add.
Okay.
But it has to do with the work plan for the planning.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
For the consolidation project.
So we need to go back to that item on the agenda.
Okay. So back to 6. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, basically, under that work plan, it also includes some work by Lake of the Woods, and it has to deal with the pipeline and meter replacement. So Lake of the Woods has that project going on, but since the bids came out high, construction application to try to fund the pipeline that was not going to get funded through the current project. So when I spoke to Carmina at the state, instead of me creating a whole new work plan for Lake of the Woods, she just said she approved for me to include that work under the foundation project at all. All that funding is going to come from Self-Help's Prop 1 funding, but I just want to let you guys know that that we had to bundle some of Lake of the Woods work into that work plan. It's totally separate. It's just included in that work plan.
Okay. So that's coming from the Prop 1.
That we got to pay for consultants. So
Okay.
basically, we're going to pay environmental consultant to do bio and cultural, just the same as they are for the meter project. But it's just going to get included into that work plan, so we didn't have to create a whole new work plan for Lake of the Woods. But it has nothing to do with the consolidation project, and it won't affect any of the funding because they're all separate funding.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Director Schulman.
Carlos, that's not including actual pipeline or anything, which you said they were getting extra money to pay for environmental that they didn't anticipate.
Yeah, that portion that we put on the work plan, that's just to pay for the consultant for the environmental. The money for the pipeline is going to come when we
A separate funding application.
Yes, yes. It's just like I'm gonna submit in the future. I'm gonna submit a funding application for meters.
Right.
I'm gonna submit
An additional
funding
one.
application for the line replacement in Lake of the Woods. Just the same as I'm gonna submit here in the next few years a construction funding coming out of Fraser Park's funds or anything like that.
Right, so it's a separate, basically a separate planning application for Lake of the Woods prior to any annexation.
Yeah, those are. It's gonna be a separate. It's not gonna be planning. It's gonna be construction for the line replacement.
Yeah, it's construction because they already planned it. I mean, it's
ready to go.
They just need
bundled environmental work into the Fraser Park work plan, which it's not going to affect. Like I said, it's not going to affect any of the funding because it's coming out of self-help Prop 1 funding to pay for consultants.
But have you already done your pipeline?
No, the meters and pipeline are going to be done together.
Okay.
Meters first because the DWR part of the grant is going to expire before the USDA grant expires. And USDA was supposed to be for line replacement, but we had to merge those to help pay for the meters for sure to be put in. And some of those line replacements are actually relocating pipes to the front of houses that are in behind, and because they're on private property, DWR can pay for those, but USDA can't because they can't run private property. 100 feet of pipeline, it may only be 400. That's why we need the extra grant to replace that remaining. So we'll do what we can with the DWR and USDA grants.
Pam, did you say 1,100? That's 11,000.
11,000. Thank you. It's
and 4,000 feet are what's going to be needed to complete at the end.
Right. So, in theory, 4,000 feet is what's going to be replaced with the meters, right, Carlos?
No, he said the other way.
No, the 4,000 feet is going to be at the end.
The remainder. Oh, that would be lovely, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if there's.
So you're thinking you're going to be able to do 7,000 and then you'll do 4,000 with additional funding.
Right.
Okay.
And that way we're still meeting the requirements that you guys needed because that was their anticipated amount to be replaced.
Right.
And we just had California Rural Water Association to do a leak detection to see if there's any other pipelines, but he's not finished. We got rained out, so he'll be up another day.
And we didn't have a lot of.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns from my end?
No, I think we're good.
No, I think we're good. Thank you.
Is there anything else we need to put on the agenda? From your
Not
end?
that I can think of at this moment, but I'm sure Tiffany will email me asking me if there's anything else I need to add. So
okay,
maybe something will come up later.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us via.
Thank you, Carlos.
As far as adding an item to the agenda, I guess because I can't talk about this because it's not on this agenda, but we got a letter that I'd like to add to the agenda for not that I think we have any issues, but if you could add this question we got from the elections department. It's just, it has to the regular meeting. It has to do with Lebec. I don't think it affects us whatsoever, but it's still something we should talk about.
Okay.
Well, that's the next thing.
Oh, I thought we were already on that, sorry.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Vote over future agenda items. Director Schomburg added one. Anyone else want to add anything to the next regular meeting?
I think we're going to leave all the same stuff on there, except you'll make that one change to.
Oh, for this one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything else for the planning. Because it all can be talked about under the planning, so I don't think
Actually, I guess you do need to add, because we're gonna add the agenda so that we can report on it.
Isn't that already done?
I think she took it off.
discussion vote on MOUs for those
Oh,
participating.
no.
You wanna
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah, that's,
do the update under that? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
yeah, I think we can.
Okay.
Once you set up that conference.
Okay, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank all of you guys for coming. Have a great evening.
I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
500, adjournment at 7:06.
Oh my God, that's